2025 ACC Tip-Off Q&A. I am happy to welcome Clemson to the stand with me. Head coach Sean Poppy, Mia Moore, and Demira Hides. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Clemson, you defeated two ranked teams a year ago. You shot a whopping 43% from the field, 35% from three, and set a program record with 228 made threes. We know that's part of your system. A year now of recruiting and getting players familiar with your system. What should we expect this season?
That record will be broken. I think that we put a really talented group together, skilled. We got much bigger, but I think we can play a little bit more inside out. Obviously, Dee's here for a reason. She's added a big dynamic to us inside, along with Morgan Lee, but we've gotten even more skilled on the perimeter. So, I think that we're going to play a little bit quicker in space, with the idea that three is still worth more than two.
Sean, I think fans love to see systems like you, the three, the fast pace, but there's a balance there. Defined post players, such as Ms. Hines here, that can run the floor, spread the floor, but also defend down low. Can you talk about that dynamic when it comes to recruiting and how important she is to your system?
Yeah, when she came on a visit, that was exactly what we showed her, is that with what we put around you and how we play, you will get one-on-one coverage. We're going to make it very difficult for people to come and double and play two on you. We're going to play for each other, with each other, but if you own the paint and have a presence to yourself, there'll be a lot of one-on-one coverages. In her career, she's been really, really good when that's happened. And so I think it was a wonderful fit. It is shown to have a good fit all summer and preseason. And it just adds a totally different dynamic to us. We want to shoot a lot of threes, but we don't want to live and die by it, right? Where's the balance of how do we get it in there? And sometimes she's so unselfish that she's trying to kick it back out. I'm like, whoa, like, score the ball, and it's been a lot of fun to watch that mesh together.
Demira, we heard his side of the recruiting visit. What did you hear in terms of this system, and what's the impact you feel like you can make on this program?
I definitely did like when I was being recruited, just because I felt like I could fit within his system and his style of play. There are a lot of plays that he's added in for us bigs since we've gotten there, so that's been really exciting to kind of like run through against like practice guys and everything. I would just say there's a lot of positives towards his view or his perspective of how we can kind of run through his offense this year.
Coach, last time I saw you was at the SoCon tournament. So how's the transition been from the SoCon to the ACC?
Yeah, there's some really good players in both leagues, but in this one, you need really, really good ones to make you look like a really good basketball coach. And I think the transition, obviously last year, I had been in this league before during my time at Virginia Tech, but it had changed so much, right? With the coaching changes, the additions of the Stanfords, Cal, SMU, playing a lot of people once, not many people twice. Obviously Georgia Tech was really it until you got to the tournament. So I just feel like we got our feet up underneath us and have a lot better feel of what it takes to win in this league. And then we also had an off season to add to the group that we had put together a year ago. So it's a really good conference. You can't take a night off, but you better bring some of these with you to have a fighting chance.
Mia, you've been known as one of the team's best defensive players, that lockdown defender. How has that helped your offensive game now going into your senior year?
Yeah, I feel like defense has always driven me on the offensive side. I love to get steals, I love to get rebounds, and so I just feel like that really drives me. It brings the momentum. I feel like you can't have offense without defense, and so just getting those stops really energizes me to go get stopping the score really. But defense is my go-to, and yeah.
Don't let her fool you. She's pretty good on offense too.
Well, and that's why I asked, how is that feeding into the offense? Sean, huge strides in your first year. What does year two look like as far as the goals and just that continued growth?
Yeah, we were very competitive a year ago, but still at the end of the day we were 14 and 17, and that's not what our goals or expectations are at Clemson. I know it's year one, but I'm not very patient. I think for us was to really focus on ourselves as coaches and how do we get over the hump, because the reality is that we're really 5 possessions away from having a totally different year. If you really go back and look at the NC State and North Carolina and Louisville and overtime, it's just on and on, right? And so that's been a focus as we headed into the summer. that little things go a long way. And how we started games and how we finished, that definitely was not where it needed to be for us to take the next step. I think we have a group in that locker room that truly believes we can take the next step and compete to get ourselves into an NCAA tournament, which has not happened in a long, long time. One time in the last 21 years, if I'm not mistaken, at Clemson. So that is definitely way out in front of us. But for now, it's just, let's get better daily, one day at a time. And I think if this group does that, they're going to put themselves in the conversation of what their goals are for the season.
Mia, last season, you nearly doubled your threes made. You increased your shooting percentage to over 40%. What do you attribute that big jump a year ago?
It just goes back to the type of staff we have. Like, I came from UAB and I wasn't really a three-point threat. But I got here, spent countless hours in the gym. He was trying to figure out what was wrong with my shot, and we finally figured it out. And just those reps, he made me get in the gym, just trying to keep going over the same thing. And so yeah, we finally figured it out, and now I just have a rhythm with my three, and that just goes to show the type of coach that he is. He loves to develop his players, and that's why I chose him.
It sounds like Sean felt it was right with your shot as well. Demira, what does it mean to you to know that your last year, this ACC tournament's going to be in your backyard? What does it mean to you to go home for that?
It's really exciting just because I have a lot of support back home. So just knowing that I can even bring my family in just to support the entire team, watch it.
Should the team expect home cooked meal?
I'm Jamaican, so yes.
Now all the media's going to
There might be some fighting. If you look at our roster, there's a lot in that backyard, right? We have a lot of home cooking and a lot of fans. I'm excited to get into the Lane area.
Sean, this past weekend, I noticed there was a clip that you put out on social media of something, and you used the term pretty basketball. Can you describe the clip and what that means to you, pretty basketball?
Yeah, I feel like in 2025, in today's time, there's a lot of one-on-one basketball, a lot of watching one person dribble, not a ton of movement. And we our style and our belief is the complete opposite of that, right? We're all going to touch it, we're all going to share it, we're going to space. Every movement we have is for each other. If I'm making a cut and I may not get it, but I open up the next one. And so for that one, it was a practice clip, and it just kind of dawned on me. We went sides of the floor, all five touched it. We played inside out, and then ultimately, when the shot goes up, you can know we're all celebrating, right? Because it doesn't matter that Mia makes a shot or Dee makes a good post move. We celebrate one another. As long as Clemson women's basketball is successful, that's kind of the culture we're trying to establish. But it's not only in the locker room; it's our style of play. And I had a speaking engagement this last week, and people ask, "What's your style?" Well, hopefully our culture is our style, right, and vice versa. And so, to me, that's the purest form of basketball. It's a lot of fun to watch, but I also think that our fan base feels that. That's why the growth that we've had in just a short time of, the Clemson family really hopping on the young women we got in the locker room.
Mia, give us the scouting report on Demira.
She's the Hulk. She makes it so much more easier on the offensive side. I'm coming down, I see her, she's like, oh, I'm giving it to her. She can go to work on anybody. She's tough, she's physical, she's skilled. She's the post player that you want to have on your team down low.
Miss Hulk. A lot of newcomers on your team. Who's the one player that maybe we don't know about yet that you think a couple of weeks in everyone's going to be talking about?
Moe has been doing so good recently in practice and everything. She's really found her spot, and her touch is insane. So if you even let her see the rim, she's gonna get it in there.
Sean, obviously this is your second trip through the ACC, so you're very well aware of the coaches, but what makes this league so special when it comes to the coaches?
Yeah, well, they do a really good job recruiting great players. But no, they're always playing chess. Sometimes you get out there and it feels like checkers, right? It's just a simple move here or there. You can't relax, right? The amount of adjustments that they're making, allowing players to play, like that's another piece, right? Like there's so much talent, but it's not being, it's let them be players. And so, I think that freedom, along with how many adjustments are being made throughout a game, let alone trying to prepare for what are they going to try to do beforehand. So, it's an unbelievably coached league with really good players, and when you mesh those two together, it makes it a nightmare night in and night out.
So this is the last question, is for all three of you. Demira, we'll start with you, and it's a one-word answer. When I say the term ACC women's basketball, what does that mean to you?
Tenacious.
Driven.
Historic.
Clemson women's basketball, thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck.